Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Nat Zappia, and I am the director of the Institute for Sustainability. We're here. This is our final webinar on kind of an extension of our Earth Month rather, programming. And the last week, is it last week or the week before? Oh, last week I think, or 2 weeks ago, we started featuring our students and some of the great student work that has been happening on campus, both in the sustainability minor and with some of our interns, and now we're finishing, last but not least, with um, with Warriors of Change, which they'll introduce themselves and tell you all about some of the work they're doing. But I just want to tell you a little bit about the institute and about how we work with folks like Warriors of Change. So we're part of the CSUN, of course, and we work with facilities and associated students on everything related to sustainability. And the Institute, of those three branches, if you will, the Institute really focuses on programming and education and working with students on research projects and with the community. So trying to really extend the campus beyond, extend sustainability beyond the campus and into the immediate community and into Los Angeles, and then ultimately nationally and beyond. So we're really interested in great projects like this, and as they'll tell you, it's a long-term, it's a labor of love, right? And also a multi-year project, right? So that's why I think it's appropriate to finish with you guys and gals, and give us your perspective on how you all came together and think about the future. So there'll probably be a few students who are going to be here next year, and maybe will want to join with your efforts. And so without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Nicholas, Michelle, and Isabel. So thank you for coming today. I'm gonna be listening. I'm just gonna turn my screen off so I don't distract from this beautiful presentation here.
Thank you. It is quite beautiful. Hi, everybody. We three are a club on campus called Warriors of Change. I am Nick.
I am Michelle. Hello.
I'm Isabel. Hello.
Oh, we practiced that. That went great. So I thought what we would do is we could talk a little bit about our club with everybody. It's sustainably based, so we're all like-minded here, and we could talk a little bit about some of the things that we hope to accomplish on campus, some of the discussions that we're continually having outside of the classrooms and outside of the campus, even while we're separated with this COVID isolation. We're still hoping to get some things done, but yeah, so we put together a little presentation to talk about some of the things that that make our club unique on campus, and some of the things that we talk about. So this is us. This is us working on campus. So the oops, there we go. So some of the things that we do, and some of the things that we discuss, we're going to talk about. I know you've talked about it a lot, but native landscaping. But then it can go beyond drought tolerance, because I know we talk a lot about water conservation and water capture, but also how native landscaping can nurture native species. And we can do that not only through planting, but through awareness on campus. We're going to talk a little bit about the parking structure G6. I don't know if too many people are aware of its solar readiness, or that it's not going to have solar, or even that it's going to be, or when it's going to be finished. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. And then the big one, of course, which is the elimination of single-use plastic bottles, something we've been talking about, I think, since we've met each other.
Yeah.
So it's like the constant discussion. I think, and then I know Michelle's going to talk about some Take Back the Tap, which is a program with Food and Water Watch, which is another group that we work with outside of campus. So native landscaping that goes beyond drought tolerance. What necessarily does that mean, and kind of what the plan is? So one thing is that the sustainability department, the geography department, biology departments, I feel like there is a disconnect in all of the maps that are created of all the vegetation. And they're also not all up to date. So I think it would be a great, one of the things that we talked about is it'd be great if like the colleges could coordinate and actually create sort of a final map of up to date flora throughout the campus, because of all the native and non-native trees and native and non-native plants. If we are trying to do native landscaping and understand the actual campus, making sure that we have a up-to-date, fully complete map of all the plants and trees. So I know the geography department has one, and physical plant management might have a hold of one as well. Sophia, you might know, where there's another one that is I'm not even mentioning. And then also going through our campus and like just walking the campus, sometimes you can see that there are some, plants that shouldn't be there. So identifying which species hurt native ecology is a discussion we were having, whether it's stealing water or reducing the habitat of native species. And for me, I know dealing with like getting native bees, butterflies, birds, all the plants that they love and that they've had for thousands of years as they've grown in California. That's the type of flora that we should have on campus, I feel, to sort of nurture these animals. That's the beauty of CSUN, is that it's like this big green space, and we all love it and we all enjoy it. But I feel if we had a little bit more of native, not to say endemic, but this like actual native that goes beyond drought tolerance planting, it could help in educating students about this and as to like why we plant the plants we plant. As a general sort of education on campus could be a fun thing, I think. And then the other part is like actually how do we acquire these native species? And it would be, we could grow our own, right, Zappia? We could like sort of start our own little section in the garden.
Yeah, of course.
And then there's suppliers like Theodore Payne Foundation. If you're not aware, they are a nursery that specializes, or a nonprofit that specializes in native species. So, I mean, it's possible to even work with them if the costs weren't too high, or if they were possibly willing to donate to the campus. So, just in speaking about native landscaping that goes beyond drought tolerance, that's one of the things that we talk about and we kind of are concerned about, in terms of making the campus a zero waste campus and a green campus. And I think next, Isabel is super pumped to talk about some solar and our G6.
Is the slide there?
It's there. Sorry. Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so we have been looking into the new parking structure G6 by like the soccer field area. We've been doing a lot of research in regards to the implementation of solar panels in this new G6 parking structure. We have been asking different people questions.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
Come on, Nick. Come on.
Sorry. My dog.
We have been communicating with different people, reaching out to find some answers to some of our questions. We've communicated with Dr. Zapia, obviously, and also Colleen Barsley, who is the manager of energy utilities from the Department of Facility Planning, Design, and Construction. So here are some of the things that we discovered. We found that structure G6 has been built solar ready. So it's ready to get solar panels. However, funding for the panels is not currently adequate. Although there still remains a desire or incentive to install these solar panels. We also discovered that CSUN, we know that CSUN is a state entity, so the campus is not able to obtain tax credit, which is a major factor also in the funding of private systems that do get solar panels. Also, CSUN's energy contract does fall under Los Angeles Department of Water and Power territory in this case. Thus, only DWP may sell our campus kilowatt hours. In addition, LADWP also does require a Vista switch for a project of this scale. And this is a requirement for a safety shutoff to prevent backfeed into the grid in case of an outage. This is another significant cost that can amount to anywhere from $750,000 to $1 million. Also, we must not forget that there's still this incentive, and this is why we care about this project. There is the idea to eventually put solar panels in, and there are many pros if this happens. Although there will be high initial costs, in the long run, money can be saved. This can be done through things like tax breaks. Also, solar panels will arise opportunities for collaboration, so students can take advantage of these opportunities for learning and training, and may be presented, which may be presented by this solar energy project. In addition, this would help us achieve climate goals for our campus. The solar panels would support CSUN's sustainable incentives for energy and building, as reduction in energy use and in the use of fossil fuels are core components of CSUN's commitment to sustainability. Bottom line is, other universities, municipalities, and businesses have solar panels. Why don't we? And then I will hand it over to Michelle to talk about plastic on campus.
Hello, everyone. Okay, so we are finally have reached the topic of our goal of becoming a zero waste campus. And one way that we can do this is the elimination of single-use plastics. So on the CSUN's sustainability waste and materials management website page, we learned the fact that our campus waste generation amounts to approximately 70 pounds per person annually. We know this fact must change, and more importantly, can be changed. One of the biggest ways we can combat this is fighting against the single-use plastics on campus. We have been working with the nonprofit organization Food and Water Watch on the Take Back the Tap program for 2 years now about. So we have worked on educating students on campus about the repercussions of the sell and purchase of the bottled water industry. So we will be tabling, we'll go to some of the different events like Water Day and Earth Day and set up a table, and we'll talk to students. We collect signatures for those who understand the issue with the commercialization of our natural resources. So important, like water. So one very interesting fact that we found on the Food and Water Watch Take Back the Tap campaign website page, the amount of PET plastic used in the US bottled water in 2016 kind of compounds to the Empire State Building. more than 1.3 times. So basically that amount of plastic was made throughout the whole country. And the thing is, if you understand how single-use plastic is used and recycled, you understand the very serious issue with that, because recycled or plastic in general, most of it, if it's just like number one plastic, can be recycled maybe once, if twice, and so it has a very short, basically, lifespan, or recycling lifespan. So that's a huge issue, and that's if it even makes it to the recycling plants. So I'm so sorry. So we've been striving to work with our student government on campus with the CSUN contract with PepsiCo to get partial or full ban of selling of these single-use plastic bottles. So we've been working with them, or we've been trying to collect our signatures and then present a with the signatures, maybe work with the student government to help with the contract. But now that this whole new change has come about, there are yet to be installations. We'll see what happens with the contract in general. So some overall questions we want to answer and focus on for like the next coming semester and throughout are like, how do we do this? We want to eliminate overall single-use plastics by eventually maybe substituting the materials into like glass and aluminum if we have to sell some sort of entity like in the vending machines, but we're trying to figure out how to, of course, eliminate that. Some other questions are, where are the potable water access points? So we want to eventually maybe make a map of all the different potable access points, not only where you get your water from the fill stations, but maybe other locations that can possibly, we can put more refill stations, or we'll see in the future what we can do. So how much will this cost? Who will pay for it? These are all questions we want to work with and figure out with time. But that's definitely something, as a group we work on. So with the new changes on things like on campus, and the fact that in the next semester we will be staying home, this gives us the possibility to work on becoming truly a zero waste campus for the future to come, not only for the next semester, but how do we make that lasting for semesters to come? And so we want to become innovative, basically. And so one of the projects that specifically Nick wants to work on, and the whole group as well, is the Oasis Station. And so this is a very cool project that he wants to work on. So Nick, back to you.
Yeah. Well, and I really wish I had like a nice artist sort of rendition of it. But basically, in the elimination of single-use plastics, if we do that on campus, there has to be something that replaces it. It's not like we can all of a sudden just get rid of everything that we use to drink out of, and then just say, okay, everyone, now you're just drink water, or whatever. Like, while that would be great, it's still it's not likely. So what would replace vending machines? So my idea is in identifying with the potable water access points, is that if we were to create like these little shaded areas that had water fountains, you could get your access to like flavored sparkling water. There'd be fountains there, the fountain machines. That, and if you're not familiar with what they're called, when you put your cup under and the soda comes out, that's a fountain. But rather than having it be bottles that come out, everyone would have their own cup, pay, or get free water, and then fill up their cup and leave. So this would eliminate all of the waste that occurs from containers, from plastic, metal, glass, whatever. It would basically be everyone would have their own. This would change. This would mean a change in culture. It would mean a change in education about the water. You know, that bottled water isn't the elixir that the companies would have you think that it is. You know, like this idea just came about because in the discussions that we were having as a club, I mean, it just sort of organically comes out, honestly. Like when we were talking, and I think I might actually do this for my 490 cornerstone project, which will help me get my pass my major requirement, which is, you know, huge. But anyway, that's just it's kind of an idea in its infant stages, and I would still need to obviously work with a ton of people on campus, and then do a lot of cost analysis, working with vendors. Like, what if instead of Pepsi, we had Brita? And what if Brita sponsor, paid the school for exclusive rights for water filters? You know, and then we would have water fountains that had good, clean water, and then they would get their advertising and their young audience to sort of advertise to. Meanwhile, everyone would have their refillable cups again. I know I'm being redundant there, but the whole point is to reduce the single-use plastics. So these are just some ideas that we talked about, which kind of segues into what we are as a club. The 490 idea I just talked about it just came about through just like random conversations that I think we were in the garden, right?
Yeah.
In the campus garden.
Best ideas come out of the garden,
right? It's a ground up conversation. I think we were actually, and we were even talking about the same similar idea came out when we were talking about the elimination, not the elimination, but the household hazardous waste that currently is a big issue. And the fact that it's not being, there's no place for people with in their homes to dispose of household hazardous waste because of COVID. So we started game planning, like how an emergency plan could come about. But anyway, that's just kind of how we are, who we are, or we have these conversations that all revolve, I mean, not all, but we all revolve around sustainability type issues and green issues. And it's all because honestly, we met in Chidari's class, you know, when we were sitting, you know,
Yeah.
it seems so long ago, but we all sat in her class and we all just were spitballing after class one day about how to, about things that we could do. And, you know, we're all motivated because, you know, after you hear a Chidari speech, you're motivated to change the world like right away. And so, yeah, and that's how we kind of formed our club. And outside of that, there's the fun that Michelle's favorite part is fun. I know that.
Yeah, no, we all met in that sustainability class, and we learned about all these different topics that were affecting not only our community, but I mean the whole world. And it's just these grand issues that are so serious and look so big, and you end up feeling a little small, but we were like, no, we want to make a difference. And so all our conversations were so like fired up and very intriguing, and we wanted to make a difference. Yeah, so we were like, why don't we make a club? Because there was no exact club for students. We had a club for professors, which was called it's still going on, but the system change, not climate change. And we had the main professor there, which was Dr. Klein, and we got to I visited the club, and I was like, wait a minute, but what about a club for students? And so we were like, let's make this happen. And it just became this thing. And so we definitely would love more members. We want to continue. It's always a fighting battle, and it's really cool that oh, cool, people look like they want to join. That's awesome.
Yeah, there you
We
go.
want you. Please come join. But yeah, we have like some pages. Like we have our Instagram page, and we have our email, and we try to meet like maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks, and we'll have either a couple of topics to talk about, and we're always working on something, and sometimes it's a little bit slow to make things happen, but it's always an uphill battle, and we will get there. And it's kind of exciting to figure out each semester, okay, what are we going to work on this semester? What are we going to battle this semester? And yeah, we chose Warriors of Change because it's almost a little bit of a fight, and it's a good fight, and it's rewarding. So come join, guys. Yeah.
The one thing that we've learned for sure is that it's very, very tough to make a lot of these changes happen. As professors that are on this call, I'm sure you're fully aware of some of the hurdles, and I mean, just the amount of coordination you need for some of these simplest things can be mind-numbing, and you know better than us. Because of that fact, we really need a coordinated effort. It would be great that if, like, we're sustainability and geography and majors and minors, but we, like, the whole campus, whether it's the I don't know, this business school, this school of education, people who work on campus, whoever it is, like, this isn't like we're a club just for us, like just for students. It's literally for everybody who wants to come and have these discussions. We provided our contact information here. You could always email Dr. Sapia, and if he wants to forward that, and I see a raised hand, if he wanted to forward that information to anyone, that would be perfectly fine. But I guess the closing statement is that we enjoy having these conversations, and if there's anybody who would like to be part of this and just have, I mean, it really is, it's fun. It can be frustrating, but it's also it's fun to be around like-minded people who are so concerned with a lot of the environmental protections that we all need. But yeah, that's kind of our presentation, our end of school presentation.
Let's give there's a hand there. I wanted to ask a couple questions, and then if anyone in the audience, feel free to either chime in, or you could ask a question through the chat, and I'm happy to ask on your behalf. First of all, I mean, this isn't even, I appreciate your time. We appreciate your time, because this is obviously a labor of love. This isn't, as you guys said, this isn't like a final, like unlike our previous presentation. This is, which was, not taking away from that, but this is like in addition to your classes. This isn't through this isn't a requirement. You all wanted and we've been talking about this all semester, of having a time to not just recruit, as it looks like Kimberly is going to join, hopefully, but also, just to kind of to share what your passion, and to talk about, and as you said, Nick, to expand your circle beyond just the club, if you will. And I wanted to give a plug to Sarah and Austin and Nikhil, who work with on the sustainability issues through PPM and through the Institute. And they've helped create this, I think I was telling you all about this, the Sustainability Champions program, which really gets to what you were talking about, Nick, where people who are on campus every day, the staff, staff and faculty and students, but really the staff that are, really the bedrock of the day-to-day operations. They've helped create this culture, and this initiative has really taken off this year. And in fact, it looks like, so Austin, if you wanted to jump in and maybe talk a little bit about that, or if you had other things you wanted to mention.
Yeah, no. So I missed the first few minutes of this presentation, but Sarah made sure to send me a link so I would jump on. But great work, guys. That sounds like you did a lot of your homework. Probably should introduce myself. So Austin Erickson, I'm the Director of Energy and Sustainability. I work out of facilities. I think, Isabel, you had talked to Colleen on my team about solar and learned all about our wonderful challenges.
Yeah, Nick did email a lot.
A lot more complicated than people think, unfortunately. So yeah, it sounded like you guys had done quite a bit of homework. I wanted to say I'm just kind of really excited to see you guys. I've been trying to get in touch with you for a little bit now because we haven't had a student group on campus. We used to work with the Associated Students Sustainability Committee, which kind of dissolved a couple years ago. And my group, as well as the Institute, used to work with that team each year on the different goals and priorities that they had. And since that's been dissolved, I haven't had a whole lot of student interaction. But now that I have met you folks virtually, I'd love to keep that conversation going. And not a student, but I would love to attend meetings and help you guys navigate the university, because being there for about 6-ish years and change, I know how challenging it can be. So I guess use us as a resource. I'm also volunteering, Nat and Sarah.
Of course. Awesome. Yeah.
They've also been around for a while and can help navigate some things as well.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm going to stop talking, but I'd love to come to your
Awesome. That's great. Thanks.
That'd be great.
Thanks for jumping in, Austin. Yeah, this is part of one of the goals, I think, for you guys coming here and talking. I did have a question. This is to the group. What you mentioned you finding like minds, and obviously this is you're meeting in the garden, and you're being part of the sustainability minor. You're already involved. You're already connecting with like minds, and that is obviously the crucial throughout when you're tackling these really, as Austin said, really difficult logistical issue, and even just kind of creating a momentum and creating some kind of a there. But I'm curious what you think about, especially moving forward, as as we're start having more conversations, and when you're gone and future warriors of change fill your roles. How do you and I don't have it, I'm just curious to see what everyone, this is a question for everybody. How do you get to we're a commuter campus, right? Right now no one's commuting, but we will eventually get back to commuting. And maybe there's going to be things that change out of COVID-19 that we haven't foreseen. But most of the students are there, they're in and they're out. We do have a significant amount of students who live on campus too. But for the most part, most of the students commute. So the idea of even trying to find like minds is difficult. But I'm curious about, when we talk about plastic, it's the 99% of folks who, not that they're not like-minded, but they just don't, it's not a priority at all. They don't think about these things. So what kinds of strategies might you think, or what kinds of ways of reaching out to folks like that?
Well, there was one idea. I know Clayton in the Institute of Sustainability, we were talking a lot last year about having more of an education about these ideas in orientation of the campus.
Mhm.
So I know that I think there's an option to where you can get like your own reusable bottle, right? On the topic of single-use plastics. But granted, if it's like 40,000 students, we would have to give out 40,000 reusable bottles.
Mhm.
But in the scheme of things, I mean, maybe working with a company to get them to donate it or something, I don't know, or at a discounted rate, you know, putting that education first would be an idea, but also class wraps. When I talk about expanding sort of like the club a little bit, part of that is because getting in front of other majors to talk about the things that we talk about, because I don't know how much sustainability gets talked about, say, in an art department or in a accounting major, you know, situation. So I think talking in front of classrooms, the bigger the better, could also go a long way so they can see that their fellow students, you know, just like them, but you know, maybe they have those feelings and they just haven't found anybody to help them come out or sort of get them out. You guys have any thoughts?
Yeah.
Good.
I'm so sorry. I don't mean to, I want to intervene, but one of the main things that I've noticed, because that was actually one of the main issues that we've struggled with, is like, okay, we're in this and we're very passionate about this, and we're still learning so much, but a lot, like you said, not everyone is or cares to be or just don't exactly know or aren't taught these kinds of this information unless you take this type of course. And so we've kind of seen the struggles with that. But what really helps actually with this picture that's shown on the screen right now, this was a water day. And it was really awesome because we had a little station with little cups, it was paper cups of different water, and we got a gallon of um, one company name of a gallon of water, and then another company name of gallon of water, and then we had campus station water, and we had this little game that we played with people. We were like, oh, come over and try our water. Which one of these three do you think are from the station water, and which one are, we gave the different types of company names. And it was really interesting seeing the students like drink it, and they're like, oh well, Arrowhead has this kind of flavor, this kind of flavor is like this water, so I don't think it's that. And then seeing them, they get it wrong, and they're like, whoa, like what? It's the interactive moments are really what get I see that gets the most reaction and knowledge. That interactive moments kind of help give a perspective to the students, and a realization, whoa, like, and then we get a little blurb of information about plastic and that issue we have with water. And so it's definitely like live events like Water Day or Earth Day. I love tabling. Those are really fun, and they're very rewarding because you just get to like meet
Right.
people, and they come to your table and you're like, what's this about? And so yeah, that I feel like on the personal level that does help. But it is, and yeah, class wraps. It's just getting that interaction with schools. I'm sorry. What is? I don't know what that was. Sorry, but yeah. So that definitely, I would
Excellent.
say, helps for sure.
Yeah.
But it's been definitely a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, we're very happy. Your passion comes through, all three of you and your group, and we really appreciate your your time, and as I've said, we've discussed, we're going to make this available, and this is something that, and as Austin said, we'll follow up, and we'll sit in on your meetings, and we'll also keep promoting some of these ideas, and I mean, some of them really inspiring ideas, I think, especially, you mentioned both of you mentioned the education piece and the first year stuff, and this is something that we're, getting sustainability embedded in any course, some of those SLOs, these are things that are part of our priorities on campus, and we're really trying to progress in those realms, if you will. Because you're right, because if there's people who are commuting, there's a limited time. The classroom is a time when you can reach someone, or the tables when they're walking to class, right? And you can really reach hearts and minds. So with that, any last thoughts? Austin had left his email there for you all in the chat room as well.
I did want to just offer my thanks to you, Dr. Zapia, because you've been an awesome supporter of all the things that we talk about and do. Outside of being and I apologize for my screen being black, everybody, my camera is broken. But you've been instrumental in pointing us in the right direction a lot of times, and a lot of the information that we've been able to gather has been a direct result of a simple 5-minute conversation with you. So if anybody has similar questions, everyone email and call Dr. Zapia right away.
Well, Austin's email is there too now. Those 5-minute conversations are because I talked to Sarah and Austin, and then they.
No, I know. I'm just, but I just wanted to thank you because
Well,
you've been great from day one.
Well,
honestly, yes, thank you so much. And
Awesome.
and you guys,
Thanks,
like, reach out to our Instagram or our email. And
what's your Instagram? Maybe you can put that in before we take off. You can put that in the chat.
Yeah, it says it right there.
It's in there. Okay, Warriors of Change. Gotcha.
At warriors dot change.
Yeah.
And
and we'll have this available to the whole slideshow and all that.
Awesome.
Excellent. Well, thank you, everybody. We really appreciate. Thanks again to Warriors of Change. Looking forward to trying to institute some of these things. So, have a great summer, and keep in touch, everybody.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.